everybody, Gina DeLuca here. Okay, you may remember this piece from last time. There were some cracks in it, but I took some of my paste mixture and kind of treated it like it was clay. Used it as slip, put the center back in. It was the center that had popped off, cracked and popped off. And then just kind of blended that out. It is a bit lumpy. I could have gone in and sanded this a bit, but I'm kind of more just trying out this technique to see what kind of effect this has. So I'm not going to be super particular because I'm not even sure if I would want to sell this. I'd be afraid that it would crack. Yeah, because I think I would rather use modeling paste because it's more flexible. But just for educational purposes, I'm going to forge ahead with this. And I have covered the whole piece, the flower and the canvas, with some Liquitex gesso. And for my paint colors, I have dioxazine purple from Liquitex. And I have some Amsterdam titanium white. I have some of the stuck-up pig. I have stuck-up pigs here in Egotistical. This is from fluid-art.co. You can find the link in the description box to get your hands on some of these amazing chameleon pigments. I don't know if you can tell yet, but there is just a boatload of colors in these pigments. And I'm going to be doing kind of darker on the outside and getting light towards the center, so you can really kind of see how those pigments act over top of a light and a dark background. So that's what I'm going for. I have mixed the stuck-up pig with some the Jo Sonja gloss varnish. You can also get this at the fluid-art.co. And I added a splash of golden pouring medium, just a splash of it. Probably didn't need it. I should have just tried it with just the Jo Sonja, but it's an experiment. Before we get started, have you seen the Fluid Art inspiration cards? If you have, you can fast forward about a minute, but if you have not, what we have are 52 cards. There are 42 technique cards, and each technique card has an associated video here on YouTube that gives you all of the information that you need, the exact paint brand, color, consistency, the recipe, and of course the technique, all of the things that I can't fit onto a card. This picture is the painting that is in that video. This box contains a tip for this particular technique. And here at the bottom, you have the color palette that was used in this painting. And then these two boxes can be used together as the basis of a 2-color palette, or you can add to those colors. And there are 8 bonus color palette cards. Each one has 5 color palettes. You can use all of the colors or just some of the colors. Mix and match the bonus color palette cards with the technique cards, and you have more combinations than you could ever paint in a lifetime. These are available at my website, ginadeluca.net, and also at amazon.com. All right, I have myself a little filbert brush here. These are my favorite brushes. I love the filberts. I just do. So I'm going to start with the dioxazine purple. And I'm just going to easy peasy. Not rocket science. When I posted this video of me creating this piece, you know, I saw a couple of things in the chat where it said, I can't do this. I don't believe in telling yourself that you can't do something you haven't tried. If you haven't tried it yet, you don't know if you can do it. So if you tell yourself you can't do it when you've never tried it, you might be lying to yourself. I told myself my whole life that I couldn't paint. The first time that I tried painting, actually the first 3 times that I tried painting, I did not use a reference photo. I don't draw without a reference photo. So why would I think that I can paint without a reference photo? I wound up with an injury that made it impossible for me to do the things that I usually do, which was drawing, writing, playing guitar. I had to take medical leave from hair school. And the only thing that I had that I could do that wasn't painful was watercolor, because holding the brush in watercolor, the lighter your touch is, the better. And I did my first watercolor painting using a reference photo, and all of a sudden I realized, oh, maybe I can paint. And so then I tried something else. I did a portrait of Jimi Hendrix for a graduation gift, posted it on Facebook, and wound up with 9 commissioned paintings in the next week. So you tell yourself that you can't do something, then you're right, because you're going to believe it and you're not even going to try. You can't get good at something until you start doing it. And you don't know if you'll be good at something until you try doing it. So do not tell yourself that you can't do it until you try it. That's like telling yourself, you know, oh, I don't like Brussels sprouts, but you've never had Brussels sprouts. So how do you know if you don't like Brussels sprouts? So if you feel the desire to try it, just try it. Don't tell yourself you can't do it. It's so important. If you're an artist, being adventurous is so important. Giving yourself permission to not be good at something is so important, because, you know, Leonardo da Vinci didn't jump out of the womb creating masterpieces. He had to start somewhere. Even he probably drew stick figures at some point. And for people who say, I can only draw stick figures, you know what? Stick figures can be very expressive. So, try it if you want to try it. Don't tell yourself you can't do it. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. So I'm just going to keep laying this in. As you can see, this is not rocket science. This is easy peasy stuff right here. Even making the flower itself, if you can pipe out of a bag, you can do this. All it is piping the line and pulling it in. That is it. That is it. There's no power tools involved. I'm hoping that once I add these shimmery pigments, you know, I'm kind of losing the 3D effect a little bit by painting this dark, but those pigments are so shimmery, I kind of feel like that will bring it all back. Now I'm going to come in and paint these edges. I will high speed that part because, you know, we're on time constraints here. I'm just going to use a smaller brush for this. Just helps me get a little better detailing. Okay, change of plans. I did some things and it wasn't recording. So, I put on the egotistical and it was really coming out much, much darker than what I wanted. So I kind of wiped that off and just repainted over where I couldn't get it off. And I also didn't like how much contrast there was between that white and the purple. So I kind of just added a bit more purple to the white to give it a bit of shading. And I mixed up some This Little Piggy and Crescendo, which was named for me. So of course it's one of my favorites. But I think that this will actually work much better as far as how this is going to play on top of these colors. So, yes, 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 this is what I was seeing in my mind's eye. Oh, that's much better. Yes. Don't be afraid to change direction. If something isn't going the way you're planning and it's not too late to do something about it, then do something about it. Okay, well, so far, so good. That, I really like the way that's looking much better than I did with the Egotistical. I feel like it was so dark, I was losing a lot of the 3D effect. But yeah, so I'm going to do the edges. I'm going to do another coat probably. And then I'll work on the center. Okay, I did 2 coats. I probably should have stopped at 1 because now I've kind of lost some of that shading. I could see that better on the first pass. So lesson learned, 1 coat will do. But now I'm going to do a little something with the center here. I'm going to take the Egotistical and I'm going to kind of just go in between. Well, I might actually just do the whole thing and then touch up the tips. So I'm just going to give this center a center. Okay, I'm gonna let this dry and then I will do a little more with that center. Be right back. Okay, so my center is dry. Well, my center is dry and, you know, it kind of has some greens and browns in it, sort of, kind of a maroony color. I'm going to take some Artist Loft Old Gold and just kind of brush in the little tips of those stamens a bit to kind of give it a little bit of life here, give it a little more dimension. Just kind of dabbing it in a bit. Not sure about these colors. So one thing I do when I'm feeling like colors aren't homogenizing the way I like, I add a little bit of the main color in. So even if I just brush a little bit of this on, it's going to hopefully kind of make it a little more cohesive, but those other colors will still kind of show through. Okay, I'm gonna let this dry and I'm gonna come in for the next step. I hope I can fit all this into 30 minutes. Y'all, I'm having so many issues today remembering to click record. I have some TriArt Crackle ground here. It says that you can tilt it on or spread it with a tool. Obviously, I'm going to be spreading with a tool today because I cannot tilt due to this flower being in the center. but it is going on easy enough. And I'm going to continue applying this. It's gonna, just like if you were putting on your base coat. All right, I will bring you back when it's dry. Okay, here it is. The Crackle ground did what it does. Some of these areas, I played a gig last night, so that's the end of my manicure. I have to paint those again. Where it was thickest, it like really kind of came up quite a bit. But I'm sure, you know, once you varnish over that it would kind of seal it in. But where I had it the thinnest, you know, it's very, it's still kind of adhered to the canvas. But it does raise up a bit where it's very thick. So, note to self. But the flower, I mean, the shimmer on this is insane. All of the different colors coming through. And I was going to paint this background, but I don't know what color I want to paint it. I really need to think about that some more. And I'm going to run out of time for the Sunday train, so I kind of have to pull the plug here. But you can see the center is like slightly different, but still, it still works with it. You can see it doesn't really pick up these colors all that fantastically. The cameras just don't do it justice. But you can see some of the gradient from the underpainting from certain angles. So I would just do one coat, I think, next time, because I want that undercoat to show through a little more. But there it is. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed. Please do like, share, and subscribe and all that good stuff. Make sure you've clicked that bell if you're subscribed so that you receive notifications. Only 7% of my subscribers are getting notifications. So be sure to click that bell. Check out the description box below for links to my PayPal tip jar if you feel so inclined. My Patreon, join us there. We do weekly Zooms, Q&As, there's some exclusive content. Also, in the description box, you will find links to my affiliates and the coupon codes. If you use those links, I will receive a small commission at no additional cost to you. And my fluid art inspiration cards, which you can find on my website and Amazon. Also in the description box, you'll find a link to our Facebook group. Go make some art. Join us there. Post your masterpieces. Ask your questions. Get some inspiration. A good time is had by most. It is the internet after all. You know how that goes. But that is it for me for today. I hope y'all have a beautiful day. Now go make some art.